You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club.
Don't interrupt us. Mike Coulter wants to get his hair braided, and I was giving
What hair?
I was
What hair?
complimenting her on how beautiful her braids were. My girlfriend in college used to do it.
His beard braided every third month.
Well, we have Mike Coulter in the building.
Luke Cage.
Mizik, and
Misty Knight.
Hey.
And
Good morning,
Chael.
guys.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Look, I'm hearing good things, man. AVTV Club said season 2 of Luke Cage is the first Marvel show to top its first season.
Damn.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Simone was like, I'm just hearing
I'll
that.
take that.
Well, I mean, but that was the whole thing. Was like we wanted to be the second record that elevated. Like we wanted to be the Low End Theory. We wanted to be Paul's Boutique. We wanted to be, the score. You know what I'm saying? So it was always about trying to, replicate what worked and then just take it to the next level.
You hear that music journalist background from Chael?
Drop.
I was excited because, I feel like I know you because of your history just as a music journalist, and then to see you make this transition is pretty incredible. And I love what you bring, to Marvel's Luke Cage.
But for people that don't know, they talk about your music history. Explain to the people what you've done in music.
Oh, it's just I was just lucky to be in the right place at the right time. The reason that we have Biggie, in Harlem's Paradise is the first time I interviewed him was actually 2 weeks after Ready to Die came out, right at 226 St. James, right at his stoop in Brooklyn. And I was actually the last person to interview him right before he got killed. And so, talking to him and writing the book about him, which, led to me writing the movie, which ultimately gave me the opportunity to do the show, he changed my life. And, I'm fully appreciative of him, Miss Wallace, and, just all. He's somebody that changed like everybody around him just from knowing him. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like all this is just an extension of hip hop. You know.
Legacy. Yeah.
Quick sidebar before we get back to Luke Cage. How you feel about the reception of Notorious? Because I feel like Notorious got better with time. I feel like it aged really well. Like when you're at home and it comes on TV, you watch it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think the thing is like I wish that we could have gone as hard as Straight Outta Compton. Because
I was gonna ask you that. Like I felt like we didn't go hard for Notorious. I think New York did, but I feel like nationally
it was early too, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, and I don't mind saying it because I think George Tillman would say the same thing. It's a good movie, but we had so many things in terms of budget, in terms of time, things going against it. It could have been great. I think honestly, if it could have been a little more uncut. But that's the thing. It's like the success of Notorious really kind of laid the groundwork for Straight Outta Compton to do what it did. I mean, if anything, I think it'd be dope to kind of come back and like either do it again or do something like a little more expansive. But I think for what it was, I definitely am really proud of it, and it's the kind of thing that always comes back.
Well, rest in peace to B.I.G. Let's get back to another black superhero. Okay, Luke Cage. Now, what kind of pressures and challenges did y'all face going into season 2? Talk to you, Simone.
Not resting on our laurels, not thinking that because people liked the show and some fans loved the show that we were safe. I think everybody went back in and thought, how can we make this better? From the music selection on his part to, he was calling us up right after season 1 wrap, like, okay, so this is the album I'm going to use as the theme for the second season.
What is
and
the
what's
theme?
the album?
I know Gangstar was the first season. What's this?
Yeah.
So second season, P-Rock Sail Smooth. So like
that means somebody gonna die then.
Lots of people died.
You caught that, you know?
And y'all expanded into Brooklyn, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Oh, yes.
Another
It was
borough.
great for waking up on my call time. I was like, we got to go up the street? Cool.
Only half the time, though. Half the time is good.
Half
Half the time
the
is
time we're in
bad.
Harlem,
Half the time you're in the Bronx. You go to the Bronx.
Yeah, 'cause
Now,
Simone,
Simone, were you a comic head as well?
No, I wasn't. I read Archie. That was as much as
I did
could
too.
do.
Archie.
In the grocery store,
Betty and Veronica.
Betty and
Yeah.
Veronica. I was like, I'm
I
Veronica.
did the same thing.
But no, I didn't get into comic books. I can't say that I am a comic book fan. I'm a fan of Misty Knight.
I'll be careful. 'Cause
I know. I didn't say I'm not a fan.
I'm saying,
I said I can't claim to.
She doesn't want to lie. She didn't grow up.
lying.
Yeah.
Did you go back at least and start studying like the Misty Knight
No,
character?
Nope.
Really?
Because when I got the job, Jeff Lowe made it seem like Marvel had snipers everywhere. He was like, don't go to a comic book store and buy a comic book because then everybody's going to know that you're Misty Knight. I'm like, I'm a black woman living in L.A. Ain't nobody looking at me. They ain't gonna know that I'm buying it there.
All right,
but damn sure ain't gonna see me buying a comic book.
Have you gone to a comic book store since?
I have, and I tried.
What happened?
So this is so funny. I was in LA, and I went to dinner with my parents. I was like, yo, it's a comic book. It's a new Luke Cage. It was like a hologram.
Yep.
Let me just go in there and buy it. And I go in and I get it. And I was like, hey, do you guys, and they, nothing. Just like, oh yeah, it's right there. I'll grab it for you. Do you guys have any Missy Knight comic books? Oh, let me check. Like, yeah, no. Guy helped me for like 45 minutes. After he checked me out, he was like, great job on Luke Cage. I'm like, how the hell? He's like, you're in a comic book store. I was like, but you gave me nothing. Like, there was no like, hey.
He was being professional.
Like, yeah, you know, they over there, we ain't got that.
I hate those.
Even
I hate
pleasant.
those. You know when they watching
He wasn't even pleasant. I was like, oh, okay, good.
You got relaxed.
He wasn't
I got
pleasant.
relaxed.
I hate when
I
they
did.
relax you. It's like, no, I know who you. I'm gonna watch you though. You do something stupid, I'm gonna tell you. I'm
So
gonna talk about
everybody.
it.
Now you're stepping into the superhero role this year though, because you got the bionic arm.
I do.
How does that change your character?
I get more fights. I get, you know, I think that the fans have been waiting for this iteration of Missy Knight since she was created 40 plus years ago. And so it's good to be able to finally mix it up. I still can't kill anyone, which is the shitty part about being a superhero, is that you can't kill nobody.
Well, we'll see. But
Don't worry. We'll fix that.
I got snipes on.
Well, you know, that's the thing. You know, if enough people, you know, tune in
Say,
this time, then maybe for season 3, like you
I
know.
can kill people.
What are some things that are going on in the real world that influence this season?
Everything.
Everything. I mean, all this Trump bullshit. You know,
There's references to it for sure.
yeah. I mean, that's like you can't go through, you know, doing this as conscious Black people, and even if you're not hitting these issues directly, it still affects, like, as an undercurrent, you know, everything that we do. But I think the thing about entertainment, in terms of our entertainment, is that we're able to entertain, have fun, but then at the same time, there's always going to be, you know, the message. You know?
Even how Luke Cage became Luke Cage.
Yeah.
You know, there's a message in that.
Yeah,
And that's-
for sure. I mean, we hit those topics now because, you know, as far as relevance to what's going on right now, I mean, we're dealing with the second season about like dealing with your celebrity. You know, everybody's, you know, social media platform. I mean, like Luke Cage is not on social media, but like this, you know, I just joined it several months ago, and you know, when you look at social media, everybody's like got their level of fame, even if it's like 5 followers, doesn't matter. You know, they get on this platform and they speak and they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they video things. The world is sort of like under a camera lens. No matter where you are, there's never a time when someone's not taping you. So we deal with that a lot in the second season.
It's so
you know.
interesting because, you know, the murder of XXXTentacion, this is an ongoing investigation, and they've arrested somebody because they've been posting so many things on social media,
Yeah.
you know, related to the killing, and everybody's, you know, paying attention and watching, and just people tell on themselves.
Yeah, they can't help themselves. They cannot help themselves.
Which is crazy when you think about it, because, like, imagine, like, if Twitter or, you know, Instagram was around, like, when Big or when Tupac got killed.
Oh, man.
Like just,
There'd be more rappers dead. A lot more.
Oh, we about to have more information though.
And we'd have solved that crime.
Now, Mike, if you really had Luke Cage powers in real life, do you think you could be responsible with them, especially in this era of white supremacy?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I think it's honestly very difficult to have absolute power. You have to have a checks and balance system. There's no way you can be, you know, the complete absolute power and no one can check you. And then you don't go, you don't go awry, because it's just one of those things. I mean, we've seen it right now with the White House. I'm sorry, you know, when somebody's not checking you and you're the bully and people are not speaking up and saying things to you, and you do one thing and you get away with it, and you do another thing, you get away with it. After a while, you feeling like you're an invincible person, and you're not really thinking about other people. You don't see other people. You just see yourself. Because think about it, we all have this part of ourselves that is myopic, that we sort of get up every day and the world revolves around us. You know, I used to make a joke when I was a kid. You know, you walk in a room. Nobody in that room exists until you get in that room, and then when you walk out of the room,
the party don't start till we walk.
Everybody in the room they cease to exist. It's almost like, you know, it's like the Truman Show. You come around the corner, then everybody starts, you know, behaving and being a part of your life. That's like they're playing a part of your life, and people think that way sometimes.
So
because
you don't have FOMO?
What?
No fear of missing out? You
No,
don't think
there are
that
times.
life is going on
No,
when you're
you know
not
what?
there, you're like, everybody's asleep.
No, you know what?
So
There are times I mean, I think everybody has that at times, but for the most part, I do feel like if I go to some old BS place it's still gonna be popping if I go because that's just how I feel. You know, it's like I'm gonna have fun no matter where I go.
But
you
if
know?
you had those powers, if you had the power, what's the first thing you think you would do if you had those type of powers?
First thing I would have done is going down and free all those kids up, man. I would have taken those kids out of there, man.
Luke Cage freeing people out of cages.
Right out of the cage, man.
There you go.
I don't know where I would have taken them, but look, we'll figure that out later. But definitely gonna get them out of there. You know, that's the first thing.
Do you ever forget you're not Luke Cage? Like you ever cut yourself and be like, damn, I'm bleeding.
No, but that does concern me. I'm thinking sometimes, you know. Because I'm not gonna lie, you know, with the police brutality and stuff, I know a lot of good cops, you know, and so I deal with a lot of good cops, and I see them, they show me love. Sometimes it crosses my mind, I'm going, what am I going to recognize me? You know, I'm like, but I'm always, I'm doing the right thing. But hey, we all know that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So one of those things where it's like I look at it because people look at us and go, oh, you know, you live in this, ivory castle. And that's not true. You know, you walk around, we're among the people. Things can happen to us too. So that's why I got on social media to speak out and to have a voice because. If you sit by and you just watch it happen to the next person, no matter what the violation is, they get away with it. Next thing, it's going to be something that you're doing. They're going to point it out to you, and you're going to be the next victim. So you got to speak out.
Have you been profiled recently?
You know what? I don't think
cops saying slick stuff to you like, all right, now you ain't bulletproof.
Man, you know what? I guess I've been lucky. Maybe I'm hanging around the right places. I don't know. I mean, for the most part, most cops they recognize me, and that's a good thing. But at the same time, I don't take it for granted. You know, I haven't gotten profiled since I was in grad school.
What about a crazy fan, like a crazy fan that says wants to test you?
You know what?
I've never break my bed, Luke.
Break my bed. Yo, break me. No. I've been lucky because most times, if you're like a boxer, MMA fighter, somebody want to try you, stuff like that. Most time, they just show love and stuff like that. So I'm glad because otherwise I'd be walking around a bodyguard. I'd be walking around fighting nobody. So I'm glad I don't have that issue.
Having joined social media recently, how is that affecting you? Because I've been on there.
Me.
Yeah,
Every day, Mike
No.
posted. I'm
No.
like, another Mike Coulter post. This
No.
talks so much shit. He was like,
No, but I always said.
Look at you on your shrine to yourself.
No.
Oh my God, social media is
I don't follow
But
him.
listen, my stuff is about
every damn day. He be like, this
You
is
can
like
mute him.
in the bed.
No.
Morning motivation.
No.
Let me take a look.
You might get one. You might get. Listen,
Morning
on the
motivation
real.
in the bed
You
with
might
no
get
shirt
one
on.
post of me saying something like that a
Chest
month.
hairs just out,
No.
living it up.
That was
I
like 2
like,
months ago. She talking about 2 months ago, y'all.
Yes.
She literally talking about 2 months ago. I'm not gonna lie.
Dies
2
on
months
social
ago.
Media. Nothing dies on social
No.
No, but his stuff is
But see,
really
he actually
positive.
remembers doing it, though. That's
He
the funny
does.
part.
He does
That's
post
because
really
it
positive
worked,
stuff.
though. It worked. She
It
remembered.
did.
Yeah,
It did.
that one worked. That hit
I'm
her.
like, do I
She
really
gave me a
have
like.
to
I bet
double
she gave me a
tap
like.
that?
She double tapped it though. She
Okay.
double tapped
Double
it.
tapping it.
She's like, I don't know. I should double tap
Oh
that.
God, no, but he does post like
yeah, and
stuff
I-
about
yeah.
political stuff all the time.
And I'm trying to keep Instagram happy and
Oh,
fun.
look at you,
I'm trying to keep the
Entertainment
Twitter.
Weekly. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep the
Okay.
Twitter, more political. I'm trying. It's one of those things. I like to do it. When I did it when people weren't paying attention, and that's what was very important to me because when Luke Cage dropped and this other stuff, it was just too many people, and I didn't really want to deal with this random people, just that conversation because I just didn't want to deal with it. I got a lot of stuff going on in life. This, it's too much time. It still is too much time, It takes time to post because every time you post, you got to think about what you're posting,
Right.
100%. Simone, your post be thoughtful. You posted a pic that said with a shirt on that said "strong female lead."
Hey,
and you thank Netflix for continuing the conversation.
Yeah.
So, what are some obstacles women of color still continue to face?
Oh my God.
Hello.
The idea. Well, one, pay disparity. We don't get paid.
You don't get paid? Come on now.
We don't get paid, and we for damn sure don't get paid what we should get paid. I love that Viola Davis posted how everybody's like, "Oh, I'm the Black Meryl Streep. Well, can I get paid like Meryl Streep?"
Right.
I think so. One is financial. Two is the idea that, when we read scripts, you could read a script and it's like, oh, all this beautiful stuff about characters, and you're like, man, this is dope. This is wonderful. You get to page 65 and it's like such and such, Black, 30, and you go, oh. So everything I read prior to that could not be me. It could not be a woman of color. It has to be a white woman.
Yeah.
So the idea that we have to be inserted into stories.
It's your description.
We're a description.
Right.
We're a box to check off. But I think that shows like Luke Cage and movies like Black Panther show that we are
Dear
a
white
commodity. Shows like Dear White People and Insecure. You know what I mean? Like all of these things show that the world is interested in seeing
Scandal.
women tell
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
But we still have to deal with the idea that we're all angry and we all have the same viewpoint. What I love about Insecure is that you see young Black women that are not the world's idea of what young African American women are. They're allowed to be messy. They're allowed to be sexy. They're allowed to be nerdy, goofy, all those things with no judgment on it. Awkward as fuck.
Yeah.
But it's rare.
Atlanta does that too.
It's
like
rare.
that,
It's really rare, and it's coming around.
What has the rise of other black superhero movies like Black Panther, or even shows like Black Lightning? What do you think that'll do for Luke Cage?
I think the thing was for, we first time out, breaking the internet, or breaking Netflix at least, I think kind of set a precedent in terms of Hollywood saying, you know what, let's greenlight some, a Black Lightning. The Black Panther, what it did, because Black Panther was already in the works, it basically showed that there is a worldwide audience for this. And then, of course, with what Ryan Coogler did, it just blew up to a level that no one ever, even though we think we could have predicted it, it just went so much further and so much faster. So now the pressure's back on us from the standpoint of how do we come back out? But I think the thing is that people, we've been gone for long enough where people are thinking about us again. And so you just got to come back hard, and I think what's great is that there's now an environment where there aren't enough black superheroes, and people, not only in terms of there needs to be more, but that there's a huge demand because, with us doing what we did with Black Lightning blowing up, with Black Panther worldwide doing that, of course, hopefully people are thinking about the characters.
I wanted to go back and talk about some of the struggles that you were talking about, Simone. We had Terry Crews up here a couple of days, and he was talking about being sexually assaulted in some of the things. I was curious, have any of you guys been? Especially, I was surprised because, you look at Terry Crews and you see a big, strong ex-football player. I'm like, who would touch him?
Yeah.
But it happens. Has that happened to any of you?
No, thank God.
Not physically.
I'm a prayerful woman. I think I pray before I walk into any door. And I think I also, being from Detroit, give off a do not fuck with me vibe.
What up, though, vibe?
What up, though? So people have not tried me in that way. I mean, I had some random writer try some old, I want to date you, even though I've been saying I have a boyfriend. But that was years ago. But thankfully I have not, but I know a lot of women who have not been that lucky, who have, been put in horrible sexual situations on set and in meetings. But I have not, thank God.
And sometimes there's things that you look back at and you're like, that was a little
creepy.
Yeah,
it
definitely.
might not have been anything so blatant and aggressive, but you look back at things and you're like, well, that was kind of effed up.
There's a big difference between sexual assault and somebody flirting with you and somebody just want to holler at you at the workplace. And that's what's weird. The movement has is very, very specific, but at the same time it's been very blanket. It's a general statement that anybody who misinterpreted a movement may have said something, looked at it a certain way, and it's becoming very hard to tell what is deemed inappropriate. So, I posted a long time ago, I said, look, man, I mean, it's very simple. If the person does not want to be with you, then you just move on. Just move on. Don't be creepy. Just move on and find somebody who, if they don't love you, if they don't give you reciprocate, then just move on. It's stupid when guys try and force it. It's like, dude, it's more women.
Make you feel like you can't get a certain job.
Listen, don't let my thing is if they don't want you like that, why would you want them?
So Mike, how do you handle sex scenes, Mike? Because there's a lot of sex scenes in Luke Cage. How do you?
You know what?
Let me,
I'll be honest with you. I was on chill about that. We did not have enough coffee this season, but that's okay. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that. Because I know the fans like that kind of stuff.
The fans. So do the fans.
Because honestly, I mean, look, everybody knows it's most making jokes, but she knows it's awkward. It's not like when we having scenes. It's a real scene. There's about 30 crew members somewhere within the proximity. More crew members pop up that never were on set before. All of a sudden, popping around the corner. It's just weird. So no matter how you set it up, it's it could be the director says, "Put your hand here, do this." I mean, it's a lot of awkwardness.
Our first sex scene was my first sex scene.
Ever?
Ever.
What did Dorian say?
Dorian was fine with it, and he's really good friends with my husband.
Dorian, I've never met her. I never met her, but I know her husband.
Yeah.
But what happened was I read the script, I got the job, and then I got to read the script, and I'm reading, and then it's and then Misty Knight takes off her top, and then Luke Cage takes off his shirt, and the world cheers. This is what this motherfucker wrote, and I was like, the world cheers. I was like, and my heart dropped because I had never wanted to do a sex scene in that way, not just no. So everybody on my team literally negotiated everything down to the crack of my ass. Like, you could show the top of her butt, but not the crack. The side of her boob, but not the nipple. A half of a cheek. So I went in there, and they knew that I was not playing around.
Oh, what about a body double? People don't know.
They don't. For some reason, they didn't offer that. I would have taken it. I would have gladly
You got to find a body
taken it.
double. I mean, if the body doubles, look, man, it's like they can tell. I mean, it's a lot of times body doubles they can tell.
It'd be like a white girl's body.
Listen, trust me, and you have to clear the body double, and then when the body double comes, a lot of times the actresses watch the body double physically, and then if they're the way they move, they may not like. It's listen. Somebody's gonna be playing you. Remember, they're gonna think that's you. So, do you want that person who looks like kind of like you?
Well,
doing?
Erykah Badu's sister was her body double in that video, and that was a good body.
Oh, that wasn't really Erykah?
That was her sister.
You talking about she was walking naked?
Yeah.
That was really?
That was.
Wow.
No,
don't give me
that
the
was
line, but
Erykah.
check Google check.
No.
Google check.
Let's
Show her, Misty.
call Asha right now.
I'm almost. I don't know, Erykah. I'm sorry.
Nah,
I know Game of Thrones. I know Game of Thrones.
Let's ask her.
That was Erykah.
You
That was
texted
Erykah on the phone now. Call
That was
her up.
Erykah.
Call her up.
Now,
Erykah.
I was wondering, I wonder how I will view Luke Cage in this New York setting after seeing the world of Wakanda. Did y'all think about that?
Oh yeah, you know what? It's great because Wakanda is this excellent world that is it's like what Africa could be if it was left untouched. Like Africa was its greatest resources. It's a phenomenal continent, and there's no reason for the things that are going on there to be happening the way that it is. Because
Had there not
honestly,
been
had it not been
imperialism and
imperialism, because
colonialism
think about it. Kings, queens, the diamonds, the jewels, the precious, all those resources. It should be the richest continent, richest people in the world. But that's not the case. So imagine if that didn't happen. That's like what Wakanda is.
100%.
Now, that's an imaginary world. What we have is something you can actually visit. We have Harlem. You can catch an A train and come to Harlem. So I feel like that's one great place. And look, we would love to just visit there. It'd be like, hey, let's visit. But this is where we live. So
I think the thing about it is like with the Harlem that we established, like it's a Harlem that doesn't exist anymore, but it's also a Harlem that did exist. So it's really kind of talking about how Harlem's gentrifying and changing, and we deal with that. But then at the same time, Harlem's Paradise represents like what the Cotton Club was, or what Lennox Lounge was, or what Small's Paradise was.
Yeah.
So you've got to me, Harlem has always been like a mixture of like Washington D.C. and Las Vegas in one place. And so
Vegas,
it's because you have both. I mean, you got politics, you've got entertainment, and then of course when you have those two, you're also gonna have crime. And so it's like it's the one place that both Percy Sutton and Frank Lucas are in one spot. So it's just like you really have that balance. So it isn't really as much of a question of how do you view this show through the prism of Wakanda. It's more like as much as Wakanda is a celebration of African culture, what Luke Cage celebrates is the whole diaspora, like not only African American culture, but also this season, with the Rise of Bush massacre in Brooklyn, Jamaican culture. And now Jamaican culture has always kind of been, at the center of the birth of hip hop, and really just kind of getting into both.
Well, go ahead. No, I was gonna say we got to we got to give a shout out to Shabba Ranks because when we were hanging out at my birthday party, he came to my birthday party.
I didn't invite you to your birthday party.
You didn't come.
At your house.
Yes, and you remember? Wow. And I called you, and then I can't believe she gonna put me on
Shabba
blast.
Ranks came to your house.
No. I said Shabba Ranks. She jumps into it. She was invited and then didn't show up because she had something to do. Matter of fact, Dorian was supposed to DJ.
Dorian was
and he was
supposed
out of
to
town.
DJ?
Don't get me started. Anyway. We were listening to Shabba Ranks.
They definitely lied.
And
no, he was out of town. He was absolutely
so now she remember.
You said he wasn't
I do remember that because I remember.
Yeah, you remember.
See what happens? You jump on somebody about something, you realize, oh, wait a minute, it's my bad.
Whoops. Yep.
So as I was saying, we were listening to Shabba Ranks and Spotify or Pandora or something, and all these great songs came on, all these wonderful titles, and we just got inspired, and we just kept going with that, and he just kept running with it. And here
Well, that was the thing, was because like when you put on it was either Pandora or one of those services. Like you put Shabba Ranks in,
and it's got all this beautiful music.
It's playing like Dawn Penn, it's playing Mad Cobra, it's playing like
Beanie Man,
Beanie Man, like it was almost like
Buju, of course.
Like all of a sudden it was the '90s all over again. I don't know if you remember that Profile Records dance off compilation. It was just all like Barrington Levy. Like it was all that. That whole vibe, and it just kind of reminded me of like, you know,
Even
like,
in Belly, you think of Bam Bam and Sister
Yeah,
Nancy.
exactly. We got Sister Nancy. Yeah, that was playing many times.
Of course, Strictly the Best. Those a lot of those things called Strictly
So
the
that's
Best.
where you got the
Strictly
idea
Best.
for Bushmaster? Like, I know who can beat Luke Cage, a Jamaican.
Now, Black, if you got Brooklyn in there, you know you gotta have some
Jamaica's hands, right? Every time
Yeah,
you do
man.
it. You know?
Well, you know what it was like, okay, after hearing the music, you know, all the decisions for me, like, start with the music. It was like going through, like, you know, who are various villains that Luke Cage has gone up against. Okay, Bushmaster, you know, at least in the comic, had gone through the same process that created Luke Cage.
Brother
and,
Voodoo.
and then you like look like all the way through his bio, and then you say, okay, he's from a mysterious Caribbean island. Okay, so let's make it Jamaica. Like, let's be specific. Like, let's really lean into that, because, you know, if season 1 was about the Wu-Tangification of the Marvel Universe, season 2 is really about the roots of hip hop, both from the Jamaican side and then from, you know, if you're talking about the Stokes, like Alfred Woodard's character, the Stokes Dillards, you know, let's deal with the blues. Let's deal with funk. Let's deal with really, you know, the American side and how it's like they're both having this conflict in this one place, which is Harlem's Paradise.
Did you say the Wu-Tangification?
Yeah.
What's that mean? Break that down for me.
Well, that was the thing. It was really more about, for season 1, it's like hip hop almost didn't exist in the Marvel Universe, and so the thing I was thinking about was like, let's just go raw. Let's just really just, you know, instead of just going for as something commercial, like what would it be like to, you know, marry like Shimmy Shimmy Ya with Luke Cage with bullets just bouncing off of him? Because when you put like hardcore hip hop, particularly 90s hip hop with superhero action, it just gives it a certain like pulse.
100%.
And Method Man was on the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
They got to go too, guys.
Okay.
Have there been any talks of bringing the crew into the fold? Black Panther, Storm?
Here's the
And
thing.
for them.
Well, it'd be great if it happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They can probably afford to
And
bring
Lucy
us.
Liu directed
Yeah.
the first episode.
She did.
I saw that.
Yep.
And
We got a
is
lot of
there a
sisters, man.
spinoff on the way?
Well, that's the thing.
There's a lot of possibilities.
I mean, there's a lot of possibilities.
A lot of possibilities.
You know, but of course, I mean, you know, it's like.
In your ideal world, what would the spinoff?
Well, see, like all of a sudden I'm looking for those Marvel snipers.
I know. Look, obviously, but there's options. You know,
There's Heroes for Hire.
Heroes for Hire.
Heroes for Hire.
Daughters of the
Daughters of
Dragon.
Dragon. Jessica Jones. We could come back around and circle back to Jessica Jones, Alias. There's,
like, yes.
there's a lot of things
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
do. You know?
I did want to ask about Reggie Cathy before y'all go.
Yeah.
Yes.
man.
He played
thank
your
you.
father in season 2, and he passed away. How did that impact all of y'all?
Well, we dedicated the season to him.
Mm-hmm.
His is the first voice you hear in episode 1, and it's the last voice you hear in episode 13.
Mm-hmm.
He just had this impact. But the thing about him was, as an incredible dramatic actor who elevated every scene he was in. The thing I remember most about Reg is his laugh. Like when we had the first table read, which I think was the best table read I've ever been a part of. Like, not only did you hear his voice, which is just like incredible, but like he would laugh. Anything that he found funny, like he just like this big kind of this.
Feral, deep
And
guttural.
He was diagnosed. I remember he
Wow.
was diagnosed while we were shooting. I remember the time he stopped, you know, smoking, and you know, he was trying to, you know, correct his life and get healthier, and then he got diagnosed during the shoot, started declining during the shoot, and he never felt like, when he came to set, you could never feel like he was down. He always had this positive attitude. He came on, he just positive, just, you know, like, hey, I'm gonna make it through this. I was checked on him even after he stopped working. He was, you know, going to focus on his treatment. Checked on him all the time. He always had this positive response. He was always like, no, this is a situation. And finally, when things weren't working out, you know, I could kind of tell what was going to happen, but it was painful to watch the decline, you know.
He told the best stories.
He did.
Yeah,
He
he
was
did.
a master storyteller.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
And
Good guy.
that is something that I, as an actor, walked away with. Like, not only feeling like, man, I'm around this legend who's been on all these amazing shows and won awards and from stage to screen everywhere, but just him as a human being was so giving in the midst of feeling like everything is being taken away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate. I'm sorry.
No, I was
go
going
ahead,
to say,
no.
like, I really wish that he had gotten to see himself, you
Oh,
know,
yeah, man.
this season, because he's incredible, and you know, the show and all of us were just so much better for having been around him.
Well, we appreciate you guys for joining us.
Luke Cage
Thank
season
you.
2 starts
Now.
tomorrow.
Now.
Tonight.
3 a.m.
It's
Eastern
on.
and 12 o'clock on Pacific
so,
Standard
if
Time,
you're
right?
up, 3 a.m. on the East Coast, midnight on the West Coast.
Oh, that's not fair.
Yeah.
I know.
So take a nap and wake up in the middle
Everything
of the night.
revolves
We can have
around
it
New York.
It's gonna play on Friday morning.
For sure.
So
When you
it's
go
on.
to the
now.
bathroom,
It's on
you go to the
now.
bathroom,
Out
just
now.
start
Out
playing
now.
it.
It's out right now.
It's out now.
There you go.
Mike Coulter, Simone Missick, and Cheo, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.